Okay, so I just showed you my boost gauge and it's reading 2 pounds of pressure at idle. It should be at 0. I am going to replace the map sensor because that is what I was told to do. That could possibly be the reason for the issue. It's got 124,000 miles on it. It's probably a good time to replace it anyways because of the buildup. This is my first Duramax, so I've been having a problem, finding videos online to fix this. So I'm just gonna see if I can't make a quick video. I'm gonna pause it. I'm not an editing guy. I don't know how to do all that. So I'm just gonna do this, put it together, and hopefully it helps somebody, because I couldn't find anything online, probably because of the way I searched. So it is what it is. We're gonna try it, and I'm gonna take off the fan belt, and we're gonna go ahead and do this from point A to point Z. Just go through all the things that we're gonna do, and that way, for a person who doesn't know how to do it, which is very unlikely, but here it is. So we're gonna loosen that belt, and then once I get done with that, I'll go to the next thing. All right, so we got the belt pulled off. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this AC pump now. From what I have read, all you have to do is unbolt the 4 bolts and just move it to the side. And that should give us enough room to get to the area where the map sensor is. So I'm gonna unplug a few of these connectors and move it over and see what happens. Okay, so we got the AC pump pulled off. Okay, there it is, 4 bolts, no big deal. Came right out, put it to the side. Just set it up there on top of the alternator. So this is where it gets tricky, and I'm gonna show it to you, and I'm gonna try some different stuff. My buddy just did this yesterday, and he said it was a pain in the butt, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to do it a little bit differently and take some time, and to see if I can do it and be patient, which is the big key, I guess. So what we're talking about is you see this back here, put my finger in there, this right here, this clip, this right here is your map sensor. Okay, and you see all this stuff in the way. So I'm going to try to remove this bolt right here and see what happens, and then see if I can't move some stuff out of the way to make it a little bit easier. So I'll continue the video once I get to that point. All right, so I tried to loosen this bolt right here. That did absolutely nothing. So then I decided, oh, well, maybe I'll move the upper hose from the radiator, this bracket right here, and move it around, but the back bolt's a pain in the butt. So we're gonna kind of go about this the way that I didn't want to go about it, and I'm gonna have to move some of this. There's this wire loom back here that's right over top of that bolt, which is just in a real goofy spot, but we're gonna move that and try to get that bolt out and get that sensor out. All right, so I got the bolt out. It's right there. It's hard to see. I can't really put my down here where my finger's at. That's where the bolt goes. It was kind of a pain in the butt to get out. I had to use a 1/4 inch drive, 10 millimeter, and it was kind of in there in a funky spot. It was kind of a pickle, but we got it. So the next step is going to be plopping that sensor out and getting the new one put in. All right, so she's out. There it is. Real dirty. What a pain in the butt. I dropped this sensor down in the valley of the motor and the bolt that holds it in. So I had to fish it out. I had to go and buy me a magnet, which I don't have. Poor mechanic me, but we got it out. So we are going to go ahead and reinstall it and fire up the truck after everything's put back together and see how it does. Okay, so we got the new one in, and we're just about to reconnect it, and I want to kind of explain how the connector's back in there tight, just like that sensor. So what I did was I just set the sensor on. I had to grab it with a pair of needle nose, and I set it right on top of the sensor and just kind of backed it down in there. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. You just got to be careful. It should be, I mean, it's not super easy, but it's not super hard. So we're just connecting it now, and then we're going to start slapping everything back in and tightening up all the bolts. There is this bolt that I did say that I wasn't going to remove, but I did, because there's also this little connector that holds this hose, and I can't get it out of there. Here it is. Here it is, right here. This stupid little connector right here that goes over this, and it just got in the way of every wrench and everything. But you do have to like use a screwdriver to manipulate this little hard line here, and it'll be better for you to get the 10mm socket on there. Don't use a deep socket, it's not going to work. Use an extension and come down through this spot with the extension and loosen it, and then pry from this side. Also, there is a bracket back here. I'm going to try to point to it. Back here, where the wire loom sticks in there, it is easy to just kind of use a screwdriver and wedge that up and then get it out of the way. That also helps to give you a little bit more room. All right, so everything is back in. You can see AC pump, belt's back on, which was a pain in the butt, but we got her dialed, tightened up. I put some new tape on some stuff just to get the looms cleaned up. And like I said, this is the old one, and it's pretty shot, man. It's nasty, completely clogged up. So we're gonna fire up the truck right now and see what happens. See if that boost gauge goes down to 0 and run it and see what goes on. All right, here we are. We're gonna fire up the truck really quick and see how this goes. And see what the gauge says. Running pretty smooth, just like she was before. We're gonna see what happens with this gauge real quick. It's still reading 2, so obviously that didn't fix the problem, which is no big deal. Right now I got to figure out what is the problem, but I'm glad I did replace that sensor because it needed it.